Hello, and welcome back to a new Tilted Tier List. I'm back here with more Hollow Knight. Doing something slightly different. You may notice there is a double-decker tier list right here, because we're doing bosses, and I was thinking it's not really too fair to judge these bosses based on one set of criteria. If I'm doing difficulty, that doesn't really tell you how good the boss is overall. If I do, the overall design, then I sort of miss out a bit on my opinions on how the game is played. So I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna judge each boss by both design and difficulty, and we will see how that turns out. So let's get straight into it. Starting with the Mother. This is your typical starting boss. Pretty simple. Not too hard, obviously. I'm gonna have design over here at the top, and difficulty on the other screen over here. But by design, Mother, the fight is very simple. It teaches the player how to play, and also the sort of jump scare at the end sort of teaches you that things will be a bit unexpected and to expect the unexpectable. So I'll put it a solid B. There's nothing wrong with the fight as a design. Difficulty, it's a bit easy, isn't it? Even starting off, so we'll put it easy D. Another caveat to mention is the way I'm ranking difficulty. It takes into account first time experience, like where you experience it in the game, doing it in boss rushes, and also the Radiant version. How hard is it to do it Radiant? And Mother is probably easy all easy. Next is the False Knight. Again, this is probably the first boss that you'll fight. If not that, then the Mother. You sort of learn how to fight this guy when fighting the Husk Guards, which is good design. You always sort of know what's happening, but it's I'll do this. I think Mother is a bit more simple compared to all the effort that went into setting up the False Knight, so you get that. Visually, the False Knight is more interesting as well. If we're getting into the lore, then that's hegemon of the five knights of the kingdom. Difficulty also pretty easy. I'd say harder than Mother, but still very low. Even as a first time playing the game, it's not too hard. Next on this list is Failed Champion, but I think I'll save that for later probably. So I'll move that down. Yeah, right there. Okay, you can't see it. It's fine. Next is the Brooding Morlek. This guy's design, it's okay. There's not much to him. It's inoffensive, but there's nothing really going for him. I'll put him in D. He spits acid at you and he jumps at you, and the fight itself is just a bit really annoying. Just a bit really annoying. Since you're constantly having to wait your turn, and you can't really do much interesting things in the fight. Difficulty wise, it's definitely a step up. It's one of those fights where if you don't take it seriously, then it can come back and bite you. Definitely. But moving on, we have the Vengefly King. And Vengefly King is... the first time you fight him, he's nomming on Zote, so that's extra points. Other than that, though, it's the design of a fight is not very good. Not very good. Because again, you're waiting for your turn, it spawns ads, and that's all it does. Boring. And difficulty-wise, it's not much. It's easier than Magru's Mother. Just pogo it when you can. Not much to say about that one. Massive Moss Charger. Design-wise, it's a bush. Although it's a bit funny how like you've been fighting these small bush guys and then like all of them come together to the massive bush guy. Is better than. Is it better than more like? I mean, I don't know. I'll put it there. That might be subject to change. Not much to talk about anyway. Difficulty wise, it's the easiest boss in the game. Literally, you stand there and hit it. Not much to it. Hornet Protector. So the first time you fight Hornet in Green Path. Now this has the advantage of a lot of setup, because you're chasing Hornet all throughout the Green Path, and you finally catch her and he's like, fight me, catch these hands. And the first time you fight her, it's I mean, this is the first like major power spike in the game. Or power spike, difficulty spike. So better than you. For fight, I'm probably gonna put Hornet Protector and Sentinel at the same place, so I'm gonna leave it up there. But difficulty wise, Hornet Protector is probably a bit lower. It's one of those fights like the Morlek where the first time you fight them it's going to be hard because you don't know it, but like once you fought them a few times you can do it blindfolded. Yeah. Next on this list is No Eyes. And No Eyes is a bit complicated. The design is very spooky. Plus one for the dead children motif and the void seeping from the eyes. So visually it's a good design, but the combat is not very good design at all. So +1 for visuals, -2 for fight. I'll put you at C. Difficulty wise, it's not a tough boss to beat. If you fight No Eyes, you're going to be able to beat her. But if you're doing a Radiant challenge and you have a really silly arena, then you know the arena with all the spikes and vines everywhere, it's gonna get a bit dicey. So I'll put No Eyes at B. Say not a boss that you'll die to, but a boss you will get hit by probably. And onto Umu. Umu is found protecting the teacher's archives. There's not really a distinction here between the Umu at the teacher's archives and the Umu at what's its place, Godhome. So I'll sort of have to, combine them a bit. Umu, by design, it's a Metroid, so not much for originality points there. The boss combat design isn't very good either. You're just sort of waiting for Quirrell to help you, or you're waiting for another jellyfish to hit into it. It's a mini game. It's a gimmick. So we'll put it in D with the other gimmick bosses. But I'd say a bit more fun than any of these, even if it is just waiting. By difficulty, Umu is a weird one, because Umu is an essential story boss, but it's one that's a bit later in. So if you have your upgrades, then you're going to be fine with it. If you're doing an any % speedrun, Umu gets a bit dicey. And doing it Radiant is also annoying because you have to be very patient. You also have to deal with the jellyfish that are very unpredictable. So I will put it high C, I guess. Yeah, why not? Elder Who. Elder Who found in Fungal. By design, he's got this very interesting, like, almost Asian motif. I don't know why I feel that way. Maybe it's just like I don't know. I couldn't make a comment on it. I'll be honest, but like the fight, it's pretty simple. Dodge the falling pancakes and hit them while you can. Visual design is decent, but the combat design, it's a bit wait your turn, and not in a good way. We'll see wait your turn in a good way later, obviously, or just after this one actually. But Elder Who is really let down by the one attack where he teleports off screen and does his big, like, collapsing in attack. It's just not fun, really. It's just wait your turn, just like Umu. So I'll put you there. Also, for difficulty, if you have Shade Cloak, you can't get hit. You can literally dash through the pancakes that are falling on you, and you'll never get hit. So, no, it's harder than False Knight, but it's not tricky like Brooding Morlek, so you'll stay there. Now, Mantis Lords, enough said. Mantis Lords, they are the free lords. I have an entire like video on this. I did this for a uni assignment, analyzing like a boss fight. These guys teach you with one lord at the beginning, and then they ramp up, and you get into this flow state. It is a boss fight designed to induce that flow state where you're comfortable moving, and there's a rhythm to it, a perfect rhythm, and that's why I love the Mantis Lords. Difficulty wise, they're not too hard. The first time you fight them, again, they're tricky because you don't really have the stats to fight them at the beginning of the game when you first meet them. Quirrell has to like show up and says like, "Oh, dude, just go to the city. You'll get a nail upgrade. You should do that first." But I'll put Mantis Lords high B probably, just because the first time you face them, it can be a bit dicey. And also when you're doing it Radiant, it's they have a small chance to just like jump on you. It's like when they spawn to do their attacks, they spawn on you, and it's like I couldn't really do anything about that. It's a small chance, but yeah, and it's a skill issue. Let's see. Soul Warrior. Now, Soul Warrior shows up twice in the Soul Sanctum. It's more of a mini boss, but it's a good expansion of what the Soul Sanctum has in terms of variety of enemies and like what was there, who protected the Soul Sanctum and whatnot. And the fight, it's basically mixing the Soul Master with the Mantis Lord, with a Mantis Lord. They have basically the same attacks, except the projectile instead of a spinning blade is a magic blast. And they also have the tendency to spawn adds. So design wise, it's one Mantis Lord. I sort of like it. And the fight has the same rhythm as the Mantis Lords, it's just not as good because there's only one. So I'll put you there next to False Light. See, and difficulty, it's a single Mantis Lord. It's not that hard. Although the first time you fight him, it's a bit dicey. So it's between these two. I'd probably say C. Yeah. Now Soul Master. And I'll be moving Soul Tyrant away. It's right after this one. It's not. Soul Master is a tricky boss fight the first time you meet him, and like when you first meet him, it's just all in that entrance that he does. You walk up onto this like building roof, the door is locked behind you, and you see the shadow just like coming in from the background, and it's just really cool and just teleports in. The fight is well designed, if a bit, slow after fighting Sword Tyrant. Of course, it's going to be a bit slow, but I really can't fault Soul Master for anything. Difficulty wise, it's an early boss, but it's a definite power. Again, I'm saying power spike, difficulty spike. So I'll put Soul Master in B. The Soul Sanctum as a whole is a massive difficulty spike. If you're not prepared to deal with those Soul Twisters, then good luck. Good luck. Okay, I'll move Soul Tyrant away. There you go. Next is Watcher Knights, and honestly, Watcher Knights are one of the best designed fights in the game, I think. The way that they make the fights in Hollow Knight is just beauty through simplicity. The simplicity of this fight shines through it. The Watcher Knights have 3 moves, 4 if you include the back roll, although I'm sure a lot of people don't want to include the back roll. They roll on the ground, they jump, and they swing. That's all they do. Yet because there's 2 of them at the same time, you have to juggle that, and you have to be safe. Now, a lot of people think that Watcher Knights is like a roadblock, especially if you're doing any percent. Any percent Watcher Knights is really hard, but honestly, if you have Shade Cloak, you should never really be taking damage to Watcher Knights. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. I just gotta say. Even Radiant Watcher Knights, I had fun with. I didn't really care too much about it. So I'll put them in B. But they're not too hard to me. Now the Collector. Collector is a cool one, because it's very important story-wise. The Collector is a void construct, and as a void construct, it won't give you soul. So how does it get around that? It spawns ads everywhere in these jars that it's been collecting, because it's the one that's been taking all the grubs and everything. The fight, it makes boss that spawns ads a sort of cool concept, although it's a boss that spawns ads, and nobody really likes a boss fight like that. I like it for its story importance, but I probably can't give it more than a B tier. Probably better than Soul Warrior. The fact that you can also find the mold for the Collector in the palace is also really cool. But yeah, unlucky. Now, how hard is the Collector? When you first find him, depending on your level of like nail upgrade, he can be really bad because you can't one shot the ads. Also, if you're doing any sort of Pantheon challenges, if you don't have the nail damage to one shot them, or if you don't have the soul to do it, this guy can be the real bastard. So I'm gonna put him just behind the Watcher Knights. Now, Dung Defender. Everybody loves the Dung Defender. Our boy Ogrim, he's jolly and he is kind and he's one of the knights. His boss fight is strange, as strange as he is, and it has some really cool things you can do with it. Like you can ground pound him to get him out of the ground, and you can juggle him a bit. I'd probably put him at an A, although I'm sure people at high A. People wouldn't like me doing that, and I'll do the same with White Defender. You can infinitely juggle White Defender as opposed to Dung Defender. You can't Descending Dark White Defender, but you can Descending Dark with Dung Defender. They're similar fights, but not different enough that I'd give them a different score. Now, for difficulty, the thing about the Dung Defender is, and White Defender really, is that they don't really attack you. They attack the area around them, and if it happens to hit you, then so be it. So the Dung Defender really just allows you to heal all the time, so there's never any risk of you dying at all. Because the Dung Defender can be comboed so easily with Descending Darks bringing him out, I'd give him like a C in difficulty. But White Defender, he's a bit sturdier, but you can juggle him infinitely, so I'll give him a B. Probably harder. Yeah, you go there. Now the Fluke Mom. The Fluke Mom, though being hilarious for its memes, is a terrible boss. Terrible boss. It spawns flukes, and that's all it does. That's it. The difficulty is that comes from this fight is, can you one-shot the flukes? No? Then you're fucked. Can you, or will you get stuck in the little lake near its arena? Yeah, then you're fucked. That's it. And as such, it's a pretty easy boss as well. Probably, a bit harder than Massive Moss Charger. Just because of the aforementioned, stuff that can happen, but bad boss. What you gonna do? Now, Crystal Guardian. You'll find him sitting on the bench, and he's just trying to rest, and he's clearly gone mad from the crystals that have taken over his body. The fight is not good. It's just jump when you can, and if you're doing if you're doing it in boss rushes, then you'll have Shea Cloak, and that just makes him so incredibly easy. I think that's another bad design. In terms of difficulty, piss easy. Yeah. No. Yeah, that's better. Now the Charged Guardian, no, it's not Charged, it's Enraged Guardian. Does this boss get any better, really, in terms of design? The design is exactly the same. It's just he goes a bit faster, and there's spikes on the side of the arena. Difficulty, he does go up a bit, but it's still really easy. Just because he has a random attack and can do 2 damage, he gets up there a bit. Probably harder than... Yeah, I'll put you there. Why not? Zero is a cool guy. He's got a cool design. He's got this really stringy cape. You see him in the resting grounds, and you can see his grave, and you see the grave is clearly fashioned after him, which all of the graves are, but this is the first time you really see it. The fight is pretty boring. He throws swords at you and you dodge them. So it's more interesting with Morleg. More interesting with Moss Charger. Do I put him there? I think I put him there. Yeah. But by difficulty, he can be a bit tricky. When I go into Pantheons and he's there, I always seem to just get annoyed by him a lot. I think he goes in Morlek tier, so we'll put him up there. He's also a bit tricky to do Radiant. Mm. Now, Mamu. Everybody's favorite Mamu. I dislike Mamu so much. He is the boss that defeated my first ever Steel Soul run. I was so sad. The boss fight is not interesting to me. Like, he's supposed to be like a dog, right? He's supposed to be a pet that can talk, I guess. And he's just playing ball with you. I guess that's cool. Uh, I'm gonna do this. Just even things out a bit, but like, I don't like Mamu at all. Design wise, he's probably the top of bottom tier. Difficulty wise, I'm going to judge this based on like Radiant, and like he crushed my first Steel Soul run. If you're not really concentrating against this guy, he can really sneak up on you, and I dislike him for that. He's very inconsistent. Not that he'd necessarily kill you, like if you're actively like dialed in and you're focusing, but like to me, Mamu is just too unpredictable. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's the bias seeping in. Traitor Lord. Traitor Lord is a cool guy. Design wise, he's a Mantis Lord who took in the infection because he was like, I don't want to be as weak, or I don't want to be weaker than my sisters, which he was. So like the infection gave him the power, and now he's sort of going after the queen, in Queen's Gardens. The fight it's a tutorial for Shade Cloak. Let's be honest. All of his attacks can be dealt with Shade Cloak. But he does 2 damage. He has some cool moves. He's just an upgrade on the like Mantis Traitor enemies. So that's the same setup into boss 1-2 punch like with the False Knight. So I'll give him high B, higher than False Knight. Difficulty wise, he does 2 damage, and he's after a gauntlet of Mantis traitors, so you might be a bit softened up by them. But he's not too hard. He's just again he's. I've seen people have like trouble with Mantis Lord or with Traitor Lord, but like I don't see him as too much of a threat. I'll give him a B because I know he can be tricky. He's harder than No Eyes for sure, but I don't see him too bad. Now, Galen. Galen can be found in Deep Nest, and he's always he's going on about how strong of a knight he is, and no one's stronger than him. A lot of dreamers do that, but it never really holds up now, does it? Galen has his spinning scythes, which have a really interesting like momentum to them. You can really get a rhythm for it, and dodging them is very satisfying in my opinion. So I'll put him there. I think I like his design. Galen is the first boss that I did Radiant when I was just playing on my own, because I enjoyed fighting him. Yeah. Difficulty wise, not too difficult. He's probably there. You can easily get nicked by him, and if he just like drifts into you himself, like his own hitbox, then you can get hit, but not too challenging. Now, Nosk. Nobody likes Nosk. You want to know why? Because his hitboxes are infuriating. His charge move is no fun. You can easily just exploit his fight. He has vast periods where he's like invincible or like untargetable, even though you can probably hit him with a spell when he's like up on the ceiling. But like He leaves goop on the floor. It's just not a fun time for anybody involved. That being said, where would I put Nosk difficulty-wise? Because a fair amount of the criticism that Nosk gets that he's unfairly difficult. Like, he's not the most difficult, but his difficulty is unfair. So I would put him harder than Galen, harder than Zero. Yep. Harder than Soul Warrior. I'll put you there, probably. Especially in the Radiant fight for Nosk. You don't get that little platform in the middle where you can just cheese out his dash. So it's just completely flat plane. It was probably one of the harder. It deserves to be higher, I'll be honest. Just for the Radiant. Yeah. It was one of the harder Radiants to do. I needed to take like Sharp Shadow and really like dash through him. Which with his colossal hitbox size was really annoying to do. Let's see. Grey Prince Zote. I am a Grey Prince Zote hater. It's just a chaotic fight and I dislike the chaos of it. He just swings and he has all of these mix-ups with pretending to do one move then doing another. I don't like it. That said, the meme is good. The design is good. A muscular Zote in the mind of Beretta is hilarious as a concept. But I don't like the fight. It's not the worst fight, but it's just like, come on now. I'll give you there. That's like being very generous. But like difficulty wise, he's up there. Like he is up there. I might switch these around a bit because I don't. Yeah, like maybe one boss is going to be an S tier for difficulty, and we all know what that's going to be. Anyway, let's do Oblobbles. Now, as a design, they are two bulls with very small wings and they're very cute, and they travel around in couples, and you kill the couple and the other one gets enraged. That's all well and good. However, it's not a fun fight. They just shoot stuff at you. It's not a well-designed fight. I put it at the low end of D tier. Yeah. For difficulty, it's the same thing as Marmu. It's just really unpredictable, and I don't like unpredictable fights, so it goes in A. That's just how it be. So yeah. God Tamer. God Tamer is a strange one. Because God Tamer shows up after you have beaten the Pantheon, the Trial of a Fool. And you already softened up, you're already like really at your wit's end, you're like 3 masks, no soul, and then these guys show up, and then you have no idea how to fight them, and you just die. In that respect, they're very difficult. But I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a very easily cheesable boss, and it's almost encouraged that you cheese it because the mechanics of the fight are very. What's the word for it? They're not hard. They're just, the acid spit, for example. It's so hard to judge consistently. It's inconsistent. That's it. That you're just like encouraged to just wall jump and just avoid it. Wait for him to roll at you, then you get a small punish. Then just do it slowly, and then you'll beat them 100% every time. But that's not good design. So I'll put them. I'll put them in D tier, probably high D tier. Yeah. Difficulty wise, it's not too difficult, but you have to cheese it. So does that make it difficult? Perhaps. I'll put them in C, I guess, then above Umu, but below Soul Warrior. Probably above Soul Warrior. Yeah. See. This list is very weirdly ordered. So like, I'm trying to put these in a decent order for for how you find them chronologically, or like, difficulty wise. But next up, I'll go for Gorb. Ascend, Ascend, Ascend with Gorb. Gorb is a fun design. He's a worm and he has a massive brain. The fight, it's inoffensive. You hit him and he attacks you with more bolts each time. It's cool, I guess. The way he teleports around is a bit annoying, but like, I don't know. It's not the most fun or interesting design. This probably goes in 0 tier. Although, for the meme, Gorb, it's Gorb. Everybody will remember Gorb. And difficulty wise, not very difficult. Although he's a bit annoying to do Radiant because you get really impatient. It's so slow. But that's not a reason really to make him difficult. No. Let's see who next. Broken Vessel. Broken Vessel. He's a vessel that escaped the void and got taken over by the infection. So he fights you with your moveset, basically. He dash slashes at you, he attacks upwards, he has, he has the upward spells, the downward spells. I don't think he has a sideways spell. No. But the problem with this fight isn't even the ads. It's the contact damage, which is so annoying. His hitbox is so strange. He's so top heavy. And, it just hits you when you aren't expecting to be hit at all. Which in of itself isn't a bad thing. But, after a while, you sort of get used to bosses, right? You don't get used to the hitboxes of a Broken Vessel. Like, when you knock him down, when you stun him, and you pogo on him, his head jerks back forward. Like, when he's knocked down, his head goes backwards. Then you hit him, and his head comes back. He just headbutts you, and you take damage for hitting him, and it's infuriating. So, design-wise, I don't like Broken Vessel. That said, he's not too bad. He's not too bad, and I will find Lostkin and put him next to him, because even though I don't like him, he's better than this. For difficulty, Broken Vessel, I do have trouble with him, especially doing hitless. So I'll put Broken Vessel. It's Broken Vessel, so I'll put him next to Soulmaster, and I'll put Lostkin probably higher, possibly up here. Harder than Watcher Knights, but still B tier. No, I'll put you there. Yeah, I'll give you a promotion, lad. Go on, you deserve it. I guess if we're doing Soul, or if we're doing the variants, then we can go on to Failed Champion. Now, Failed Champion is a dangerous boss. It's so fast, you have to like go in with a plan, otherwise you're going to get smacked up in 2 hits. Design wise, the fight, it takes what the Force Knight fight does it up to 12, and tells you keep up or die. And I've got to respect that about the fight. I will put it higher than Soulmaster as a design. It's really cool. For difficulty, it's really tough. But like after you sort of get where you're allowed to punish, where you're not allowed to punish. It gets easier. But then when you try and do it Radiant, then you get annoyed by all the little inconsistencies or little like randomness in the fight, which is consistently getting hit by the rocks that are falling, which are hard to avoid and avoid with Failed Champion at the same time. Probably goes the highest we've got so far. Now, Soul Tyrant. I love Soul Tyrant so much. There's so much like creative stuff that you can do in this fight. It really allows you to be expressive with the way you move, the way you punish. Although, like, I sort of feel it at times. It's not like if you shoot a spell at the Soul Tyrant, it's probably going to be better than any fancy dash through, attack dash punishment you could do. So that's sort of disheartening, but the fact that you can do it is still fun. Difficulty wise, he's not as big of a power spike, I think, as Soul Master is when you first fight him. Obviously, Soul Tyrant is more difficult than Soul Master. Just if you had to fight them side by side. But the first time you fight Soul Tyrant, I'd imagine that you've done a bit of probably Soul fights. You maybe be in Lost Kin, and then you're going back for other Soul fights. Or maybe you had Dreamnail going into the Soul Sanctum somehow, and you just realized that you could Dreamnail him. So I'll say probably there. He's not too hard. He's faster than Soul Master, but I wouldn't say he's too hard. Okay, let's see who's the next. Let's go Hive Knight. Hive Knight's good. Now, Hive Knight, he's a bee. He protects the hive. He has a really interesting moveset. He sort of dashes at you in different ways, and you can either shake low crew him or jump and pogo him. The honey traps that he lays down are interesting because they have an order which they explode. So they go lowest explodes, then higher and higher. But it's a cool design, and he has a really cool theme as well. So I will put him high B tier. You deserve that, buddy. Difficulty wise, he's not too difficult. He's a bit difficult to do Radiant. But I'll give him a C tier. I don't know what I'm gonna do if some of these if these go on to the next line. I might have to reshuffle just to fit them all into the tiers, because that will mess up the screen recording. Oops. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I might have to reshuffle. Hornet Sentinel. Now, Hornet Sentinel, that just gets pretty much the same as Hornet Protector, but the arena for Hornet Sentinel is so cool. Because you have all the wind coming from the cast off shell, and all of the ash that's floating everywhere, the molt, and it's a really cool experience. Just as a little note, please do not try to fight Hornet Sentinel with Weaverlings, because that's a level of chaos in the fight that you don't need. You need visual clarity in this fight because it's very fast. It's pretty tough to do hitless. So I will put that probably just under Failed Champion. Yeah. Okay, who should I do next? We'll dip into some of the Godhome bosses, I guess. And we'll do Winged Nosk. Guys, everybody hated Nosk. What should we do to change Nosk in the upcoming Godhome DLC? We can fix his hitboxes. No, that's silly. We could make it so you can always hit him during the fight. No. We can make him Vengefly King. Genius idea. Nobody likes Wing Nosk. They took Nosk, saw he was the worst boss in the game, and said, we can make that worse, bet. And now we have Wing Nosk, which it's just annoying. Difficulty wise, it's easier to do Radiant than Wing Nosk, but like harder to beat in Pantheon because he always drains your health. I don't want to put more in here. I think I'll move Soul Master down. Yeah, that makes sense. But like Wing Nosk beat me up a lot more in Pantheons than Nosk did. But Nosk beat me up a lot more in Radiant Challenge than Wing Nosk did. So I think that's a fair place to put them. Let's see. Let's do Sisters of Battle. This is the best boss in the game, hands down. And difficulty wise, it's pretty tough as well. We love to see it. Yeah, I'll put you like mid. I don't think you deserve to be any less than Marmu or Blobbles. Those are there because they're inconsistent. These are here because they're actual tough fights. Mantis Lords is just the best boss or Sisters of Battle are just the best boss in the game. You saw Mantis Lords, you get to fight one, then two Mantis Lords. Sisters of Battle, you fight one, then all three of them at the same time. And if that's not the coolest thing, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You're tough to impress. The way that three Mantis Lords sort of like changes the way you have to fight them as well is really cool. Like they do the grounded dash at you. So what? You jump over them or you dash through them. If you jump over them, you're at risk of another Mantis Lord coming down at that time, so you have to dodge diagonally. And then after you dodge diagonally, you have to be ready for the next Mantis Lord to come after the second one drop down on you. So you never get any downtime, and you just have to keep going and going and going and going. And the only way to beat three of them at the same time when you have no downtime is to get into that rhythm, that flow state that is so sought after by games designers. It's a perfect fight. Don't at me. However, it's not the most difficult. And I'm only putting it like this, like below like Fail Champion and Zoe, because I've pretty much perfected the fight. I play that fight in my time to have fun, just to play it. That's such a good fight. Okay, up next, I'll do the Hollow Knight. Now, design-wise, this guy is really, really good. I can't fault the design on the Hollow Knight. He's, again, another vessel, so he's going to fight like you or the Broken Vessel of the Lost Kin. He has nail swings, and he's sort of slowly being overtaken by the infection, so slowly, like, his autonomy is getting taken away from him. He stabs himself so that you can have an easier time fighting him. But when the Radiance realizes that, he starts puppeting his body. And the moves he uses, they're all really cool. It culminates in like a unforgettable experience, especially with the soundtrack as well, with the silent scream. It's good. Difficulty wise, it's a tough one. It's a bit tough. Like, if it weren't for Pure Vessel later, it would probably be a bit higher. But I'd say it's at the bottom of A. Yeah. Okay. Troop Master Grimm. Now you may notice I've got my own merch on. So I'm a big fan of Grim in general. I think design wise, soundtrack wise, the fight is really cool. Um, it's call and response type fight. He does something, you punish. He does something, you punish. Similar to Mantis Lords. Um, Similar to who was the other example I had for a call and response boss? I don't remember. But you know, it's like that. All of his attacks are pretty simple to dodge once you know what they are. So design wise, I have to give him an S. Come on, it's Grim. I think it's better than that. Better than that. Yeah. Difficulty wise, he's not too difficult. I would probably put him maybe C. Soulmaster C tier. That's a bit low for him though. I don't know. I'll put you there. Yeah, why not? Now, who's next? I've been avoiding this guy for as long as I could because I just didn't want to talk about him. Markov. I hate Markov with every bone in my body. I hate Markov. He goes worst designed, most difficult, purely because Radiant. He shoots. He randomly shoots these blades at you that spawn out of nowhere. They rotate. They have their own hitbox. They can spawn on you. They can spawn off screen and shoot at you, even though you can't see them. The second phase is seizure inducing. These spinning shields are random in a way that they always hit you, and they will always block your attacks. He will drift towards you in the most inconvenient ways at the most inconvenient times. I hate Markov. His arena is infuriating. Give him a floor. Just give him a floor, please. Just like in the original fight, then I'd be happy. The fact that you have to worry about falling into the abyss after every single swipe is not it. It's not it. I hate him so. And you all know the thing about Markov? When I first beat him Radiant, my game crashed and it didn't count the check mark. I didn't have a... I had to do it twice. That's a sort of trauma that, I'm not going to be able to recover from. I like what I like about these tier lists as a slight, off topic. I like the design tier list is very flat. It could not be any spiky. It couldn't be any flatter. It's just like seven in C to F and 6 each in B to S tiers. But the bite difficulty is just like a bell curve. I thought that's cool, and it's going to be more of a bell curve because we haven't filled up any of S with all of these super hard bosses that are left. Anyway, Oro and Mato, let's do them. Oro and Mato by design are really cool because Oro and Mato in the lore have a feud over something. They're on the opposite sides of the map. Oro and Mato are either, I don't remember which one is which, I'll be honest, are either in the Howling Cliffs in the top left of the map, or the Kingdom's Edge in the bottom right. And they have a feud, and there's beef. Yeah. But they come together in this fight, and it's a dream fight, and it's like, oh, brothers always fight together, and there's some really cool stuff that happens in the fight. They overlap their attacks and everything, and it's really cool, and it's a bonding moment and whatever. So by design, it's a good fight. I really enjoy it. So I would put it in a probably there. By difficulty, it's a bit of a tough fight. It's harder than Shio, definitely. The way they overlap their attacks can be a bit unpredictable sometimes. So I will put them in a below the Whole Knight. Yeah. Now, Shio. He's the individual now sage. He went off to do his own thing. His attacks are all paint themed, which is really cool. But the fight is just lacking something. It's like he does an attack, you respond to that attack. There's nothing interesting about the fight. At least, Grim has a lot of spectacle to his fight, and his moves are a bit unpredictable. Shio, you just have to look at his paintbrush, and then you know what attack he's going to do, and then you dodge it, and then you're fine. So I'll give him a low B. And difficulty wise, he's not as hard as Oromato. It's not as hard as Broken Vessel, I'll be honest. I think I'll put him there. I think I'll do this as well. Yeah. The Great Nail Sage Sly. We all love Sly. He's a very tough boss. He's probably the first boss that I had to practice in the Hall of Gods before I could beat him in Pantheon. Well, he's like the first like really challenging new boss. He does the big spinneroonies, and he's like Yoda, and we all love Sly. I really like the way you have to sort of take stock of the arena and how much space you have before deciding how to dodge him. But I wouldn't put him amongst the. I wouldn't do this, right? I wouldn't make it just a perfectly flat. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to break it. I'd probably put him in A, probably next to Oromato, probably better than Oromato, probably better than Dung Defender by design. By difficulty, he's definitely up there. Almost, I'd say, in this territory. Although now I could probably beat him, pretty easily. He still can make you panic sometimes. Yeah, just for the sake of space, probably put him there. I'm still like unsure of what S difficulty means to me. But I guess, we'll be filling it out now. Let's see what's next. We'll do regular Radiance next. The final boss for true ending, I guess. After you get the Awoken Dream Nail, and you get the Dreamers, you get the Awoken Dream Nail, you get the Void Heart. That's the one, Void Heart. After getting the 2 fragments, go to the palace, go to the White Lady. It's sort of the culmination of your efforts to do something different with the story. And the fight itself it's pretty good. It doesn't have some of the issues that Absolute Radiance has, which I'll go into, but when we get there. But I really love Radiance's theme. Radiance's theme sort of brings it all together. The brass, the regality of the Radiance, and the sort of anger behind the Radiance as well. I can't give it. I'll give it a high B, I think, for design of a fight and visual design as well. Yeah, Nightmare King Grim. Oh, I didn't do difficulty. Difficulty. It was gonna happen eventually. I do forget. Difficulty wise, regular Radiance. It did beat me in the Steel Soul run. I can't fault it for that. So I'm gonna put you in a tier above you guys, and I'm gonna put you above there as well. That makes sense to me. Nightmare King Grim. Nightmare King Grim is the second best boss in terms of design, probably. He's just a lot faster. He's a lot cooler. The intro is a bit long, but hey, you go King. That's your thing. He has more. Well, his attacks are more deadly. They're a bit harder to punish, a bit more narrow to punish. But there are ways to punish it. There are new ways to punish him. Like when he does the pillar attack, you get a free, like a full Abyss Shriek if you do it right. Which is the sort of like extra punish that, gives NKG more points in terms of design. In terms of difficulty, I'm not going to say that NKG is an easy boss. Far from it. However, NKG, once you've figured him out, once you know the rhythm, it's not very hard. It's a boss that you can figure out, and once you have figured out, it's not a hard boss. I'll put him next to Radiance in A, but I think that's it. Okay. Like, NKG took me... For NKG, it took me 8 tries to do Radiant, when like something like Markov took me like, days of attempts. Something like Nosk took me like a fair few amount of hours of attempts. And if we averaged like an attempt at dying early, generously like 4 minutes an attempt, you can beat all of Sisters of Battle in like 2-3 minutes. Trust me, I've recorded it, a bunch of it. So we're generously giving each failed attempt at NKG 4 minutes. 4 minutes times 8, that's 32 minutes. It took me half an hour to beat NKG Radiant. And that's nothing compared to some of these other really tricky bosses. It's a boss that you can just figure out. But enough about that. Pure Vessel. Pure Vessel is the perfect version of the Hollow Knight. Not corrupted by the Abyss, or not the Abyss. My Dark Souls is seeping out. I'm sorry. Not corrupted by the infection, and he's in full prime fighting form. This boss is really cool. When I first fought him, I thought he was completely unfair with how fast his moves were. Right now, he's possibly like there. Or there. Visually, I think NKG is the second best designed boss. But like as a fight concept, as like enjoying the fight goes, I enjoy Pure Vessel like second best. So I'll put you there. I know I just said that, yeah, these two are very interchangeable. The two title card bosses. Difficulty wise, again, it's like I thought he was completely unfair the first time I fought him. But nowadays I can probably beat him pretty easy. Not easy, consistently. Yeah. Absolute Radiance, though. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to judge, because if I was judging Absolute Radiance based on regular attempts, then I wouldn't like him too much. I put him like CD. If I'm judging him based on Radiant attempts, I'd say I absolutely despise him. It took me like 12 hours of playing the game. Trust me, I recorded it all. to get one Radiant attempt. But the thing is, after I beat him Radiant, I realized I'd gotten so good at the fight that I don't die to him on regular attempts. Even if I only can take 1 point of damage, I usually beat Radiance in 1 to 2 attempts. Like, that's how good I've gotten at the fight. So now I'm feeling it like better. It has a lot of problems, which is to say, a lot of visual clutter and not a lot of visual clarity. Everything is white on yellow on yellow on white, and it's all blinding, which is sort of a point of Radiance, I'll admit, because he's the light, he's the big moth. But it's not fun when you get killed by an invisible orb, you know, and you're like, what did I get hit by? So I'll keep it flat. I don't like this fight, but I like it as well. It depends on what I'm doing. So I'll put you next to absolute, or I'll put you next to regular Radiance. Difficulty wise, is there any surprise that we're putting him highest of a high? He just is. So yeah, that is my tier list for Hollow Knight bosses, ranked by design and by difficulty in the same video. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.